Hi guys, you remember we're busy with the geometric sequence. Now what we're going to do, just like we did it with the arithmetic sequence, in the end we just added the terms and then we call it a series. So all we're going to do now, we're going to take that same geometric sequence, which you know by now, it's got an A and an R involved. All we're going to do now, we're going to put pluses in between. So we're going to add up the terms, the sum of the terms. So after this lesson, you'll be able to do lots of different problems with the series, but very, very important is to, let's highlight this, is to deduct a formula. You remember when we did arithmetic series, we also deducted that formula, Sn. I said there are two things you had to remember, to write the two sequences underneath one another, but flip the bottom one around and then add the two. That was the two things you had to remember there. So we'll see when we do this one, the geometric sequence. Let's just see what it is. You remember our terms. There's term 1, term 2, term 3. So all we do now, we put pluses in between. Now if I write it neatly, there's term 1, there's term 2, there's term 3, because every time I'm just multiplying by another r, another r. So the last term will be ar to the n minus 1. So the previous term will then be ar to the n minus 2. Good. So what we do here, just like we did with the arithmetic sequence, we write down the sum. There's my first line. We write down the sum a plus ar plus ar squared. Okay, so there's all the ones that you do know by now. At the end, it will be ar to the n minus 1, and the one just in front of it will be 1 less n, so it will be ar to the n minus 2. There you can see it. Good. This one is just a little bit different from the arithmetic one. Remember the arithmetic one, we had to write down exactly the same sequence, series, but we had to flip around the terms. Now what you have to remember here is also two things. You need to multiply the whole series with r. There you can see you multiply by r. Now if I multiply the first a with the r, it's going to become ar. That's why I just shifted a little bit up, so I write the ar there. So it's actually that a that is being multiplied by r, and that ar is being multiplied by another r. So in the end, that ar to the n minus 1, if I multiply it with another r, it becomes minus 1 plus 1, so it's just ar to the n. So first thing you need to remember for geometric sequence deduct, it's an exam question, a definite one, either the arithmetic one or the geometric one, so you need to know both. So first line you need to remember, I must multiply by r. And I must just make sure that I write them underneath one another, because now I need to subtract the two terms. Can you remember with the arithmetic one, you had to add the two lines? Here you have to subtract the two lines. So you'll have your Sn minus your Rsn. And now we're going to subtract. A minus 0 is just A. AR minus AR 0. AR squared minus AR squared 0. So if you subtract all these like terms underneath one another, they will just give you 0, 0. Except at the end, if you subtract there, it will give you minus AR to the n. So if I write it neatly now, it will give me this term here. But now I need to write it even neater. I need a formula for Sn only, but there's now two Sn. So what do we do if there's two things and I only want one? I take it out as a common factor. So there they've taken out Sn is a common factor. Now I'm left with 1 minus r. But I only want Sn. I want a formula for Sn. So because it's being multiplied, I divide both sides, and there I get 1 minus r at the bottom of the line. So there's your formula that you need to know 100%. Again, you need to know this formula. You're going to write it on at each problem, at the beginning of each problem, so that you can get to know it very well. It is on the formula sheet, but you can't go there all the time and check. Just one thing, the r may not be equal to 1. And you can clearly see why. If the r is a 1, I get 1 minus 1 at the bottom. We know that we may never ever have a 0 at the bottom of a line. So the r can never be 1. Now, if we just look at the next page, you'll see, but now suddenly there's two formulae. But there's a very good reason, because we are trying to make life as easy as possible for ourselves in maths. This is the one we did just now. This is when the r is anything smaller than 1. It can be a fraction or it can be a minus number. And the only reason we're doing that, if I say 1 minus at the bottom here, if I say 1 minus a smaller number, I'm going to get a positive value. But if my r is bigger than 1, like 2 or 3 or 5, if I subtract there. If I subtract 5 or 3 or 10 from 1, I'm going to get a negative number, and we don't like negative numbers. So we can swap around, but just be careful. We swap around the top and the bottom R and 1 if I know the R is bigger than 1. But if you forget this, it doesn't even matter. You can use the first formula all the time. It just makes life easier if I know. Remember, the R may still not be equal to 1, but if I know the R is bigger than 1, it's better to write the R in the front. R minus 1, R to the n minus 1. Good. So those are the two formula that you need to know. Actually, only one. The other one is just swapping around the R and the 1. Good. Let's look at an example. Determine the sum of the following series. They did not say what type of series. And remember, we finished now arithmetic series. So maybe it could be arithmetic 1. But because we are busy with geometric, and because you see a plus and a minus and a plus and a minus, that can actually not be arithmetic. Because if I add the same thing or subtract the same thing all the time, the common difference, it needs to stay minuses or pluses. So the minute you see a plus and a minus and a plus and a minus, you know it should be geometric. How do we test? We say R is equal to right-hand side divided by left-hand side. That gives me minus 2. We try again. R is equal to right-hand side minus left-hand side, which gives me minus 2. Therefore, R is equal to minus 2. What else do we need? The A. A is equal to 3. Remember, with all our problems, it doesn't matter if it's the S formula or the T formula. With all of them, we write the A and the R. So that's why I say this is so easy. You should just get full marks all over the show. As long as you remember, I need to write down my A and my R. For arithmetic, you need to write down your A and your D. So because they asked determine the sum, I just write down my sum formula. And remember, the sum formula that you got just now looks a little bit different from the previous ones because there's an R involved. So it is A. Let's just check. My R is now a negative number, so it's smaller than 1. So I'm going to prefer to write 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R. Because if I start substituting, let's just do that. Oh, wait a minute. I'm going to do it quickly. I'm going to fill in the A, which is 3. And I'm going to fill in the 1 minus R, which is minus 2. And I'm going to fill in 1 minus minus 2. But what is supposed to come there on the top? The n. I need to know how many terms this series has. They didn't tell me. Do you agree with me? They didn't tell me anywhere how many terms there are in this series. So I've got a little problem. This is where the hidden questions come in. I did what I thought I should do. You're also going to do that because they asked the sum. And there I've got everything, but something is missing. I do not know what to fill into that n space because I know what my last term is, but I do not know the how manyth term it is. So I can't fill in the n. But there's a good way to solve that. I'm just going to take this off so we have more space. You do know that we have a Tn formula as well. AR to the n minus 1. So if I know what the term's value is, minus 1536, I can just fill it into the T space, 1536. I know what the A is, 3. I know what the R is, minus 2 to the power of n minus 1. Do you agree with me? I will be able to solve the n with that equation. Just remember when you do something like this, you must just afterwards show I did this T formula first. I'll show you just now how we do that. And then I went on to the S formula because I tried the S formula. You will also do it when you see a question because it says sum. And then you see, but there's some little piece of information missing, the n. So now I need this formula. I'm going to take the 3 over. I'm going to divide by 3. So it's minus 512. And now I have still minus 2 to the power of n minus 1. Now remember, I need now the factors because if I don't get the same base, I will not be able to bring the exponents down. So I'm going to try. I'm going to only put in 512 because we know the minus is there. And I'm going to press the equal sign. Remember, we need to press the equal sign first and then shift and that button that says factors. And it gives me 2 to the 9. So it is minus 2 to the power of 9. Now, I just want to ask something. Let me just finish here. How did I know that minus belong inside the bracket? It has to be inside the bracket. Otherwise, the bases are not exactly the same. If this base is minus 2, that base must be minus 2. And how do I know that the final answer will be a minus? If I've got an odd number there, 9. with the minus in the bracket, it will always give me the minus answer that I had originally. So I know I'm on the right track. So I can just bring down the exponents, and then I take the 1 over n is 10. That means my 10th term, so I'm just going to write it here. My 10th term's value is minus 1536. So now I can show the marker or the teacher is going to mark your test or exam. Now I'm going to go back to that equation because now I found the n, which is 10. And just be very careful. When you do this problem, I'm going to quickly write it down here. That is 3. At the bottom, it's 1 plus 2 is also 3. In there, it's 1 minus. Now, I'm going to make it 2 to the power of 10. Why do you think I can do that? It's an even exponent there, 10. If I have minus to an even exponent, it will always give me a plus answer. Minus times minus is a plus. Times another minus is a minus. Times another minus even is a plus. So I'll always get a plus. And the only reason I'm doing that is just to make it maybe a bit easier. Oh, I can see those 3's can cancel. So all I do now, I grab my calculator and I click on it, 1 minus 2 to the power of 10, and it will give you an answer which you'll see on the formal memo, yes. So there you've got it. Hidden question. They did not tell you how many terms there were, although you had to use the S formula. So you needed the n's value as well, not only the a and the r, you needed the n as well. So we just went to the only other formula that I know. Even if you're really stuck and you do not know what to do, you only know a S and a T formula. So since you can't use the S formula there because I didn't have the n yet, you can just go and use the T formula, and that gives you what you need. So I'm taking off this whole answer so that you can go and try it all alone, all on your own. There's the answer, and then they also asked this one, which we did. You can just pause and you can look at it slowly. So there they clicked their calculator and they did the whole answer. Good. Let's look at another example. The first term of a geometric sequence is 54. So I'm just going to, as I read it, I'm just going to put the a there because I know first term is always a. The constant ratio is a third. So they're telling me r is equal to a third. So let's just write it neatly, 54. And r is equal to a third. Determine the number of terms. So what are they asking? Determine the n. Determine the number of terms that will give a total of 80. What does it mean when they say a total of 80? One only gets total if you add stuff. So I know immediately it's not the term formula that I need to use. It's the S formula because I can only get total if I sum, if I add it up, and then I will have to use my S formula. So let's just get some space here. They gave us the 54, which is the A. Remember what we always do? We circle that, and we make sure that I know my A and my R, because then I can write down my formula. Let's just quickly check. The R is smaller than 1. Remember, then I'm rather going to use the formula 1 minus R to the n over 1 minus R, because then I don't need to sit with fractions. Good, I'm going to substitute in 1 minus R to the power of n, 1 minus R. But they told me it adds up to 80. So I know the S is actually 80 because they told me the total is 80. So when you read it again and you by accident use the T formula and you need to fill in the 80, oh no, it can't be the T formula because they said total. So I must add it up. So I fill in the A, which was 54. I fill in the R, which is a third. Now, if you do this, I'm just going to quickly, because it's really difficult to try and do all of this with your calculator. Remember what I want? I want that n all alone. So I need to get rid of all the other stuff. I'm just going to do this quickly. 1 minus a third is 2/3. To get rid of the 54, do you agree with me? I need to divide 80 by 54. And then on the top, I'll only be left with 1 minus a third to the power of n. So because I need the n all alone, I'm not going to multiply out brackets. I need that little n all alone. So I'm going to take away the stuff. The furthest stuff first. That's why I took out the 54 first. Now there's 2/3. How does one get rid of 2/3? You multiply this side by 2/3. It cancels then, but then you must also multiply that side by 2/3. You agree with me? So now that is gone, and that gives me 2 go in there 27 times. So I've got 27 times 3. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to leave the 80 there first, and I'm going to leave the 3 times 27 there. I'll show you just now why. On the right-hand side, I've got 1 minus a third to the power of n. Now, in order to do this, I don't want a minus in front of my n. So I'm going to bring the whole n to the left-hand side. I'm going to bring that third to the power of n to the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, I'm going to say 1 minus 80 over 3 to the power of 4. Why do I say 3 to the power of 4? 27 is 3 to the power of 3. 3 is 3 to the power of 1. So I could do that. I'm going to quickly do that on my calculator. Now at least it's not so many things to click on my calculator. So then you say 1 minus, you click that fraction button. Remember the block over the block. And that's set 80. Then you go to the bottom and you press 3 and that x with the little block to the power of 4 equals. And that gives you 1 over 81. Good. Now on the left-hand side, I've got a third. And the n is hanging in the air. One of the only ways to get that n down is to get a third on the right-hand side as well. So I'm just going to go there, a third to the power of n. And you should know by now that 81 is 3 to the power of 4. But I'm just going to write the 4 on the outside there. Because if I multiply it in, it will still be 1 over 3 to the power of 4. And because my bases are now exactly the same, I can just say n is equal to 4. And what did they ask? They just asked the n there in the top. So you gave the answer that they asked. So you see again, we write down the formula, we substitute in the values, and we get our answer. Just make sure that you use your calculator correctly, especially if there's so many brackets of fractions. And you see, that is why I simplified some of the fractions before I grabbed my calculator, because if there's too many things to click on your calculator, you can easily make a mistake. Good. Now, as always, I'm taking off the whole answer so that you can go and do it all on your own. You'll see the answer is there. Everything is written out neatly, so you can take your time and pause and look at it carefully. Now, you remember when I said in the previous one, it's nearly the only reason to get, or the way how to get down an exponent is to make the bases the same. But you can think logically for yourself. It's not always possible. In fact, it's more times not possible to get the same base than not. So let's quickly just revise a little bit of your log rules. You remember the word log means exponent. So if I have this thingy there, let's just get my pen. If I have this thing there, 16 is 4 square, and I want to write it in log mode. 4 is the base, so it will, therefore, is the base of your exponent, and because the word log means exponent, the exponent in this case was 2. So you're going to write down the log is equal to 2. And the only figure that you haven't written down yet is the one that comes there. So that is one way of remembering how to change an exponential function into a log one. And the only reason we need the log one is sometimes we don't get the same base and we need to use our calculator to solve that little n that is hanging in the air. Let's look at another one. 16 is 2 to the power of 4. So 2 is the base. So you're just going to write 2 there because it was the base. Which one is my exponent? The 4. And because log is exponent, you just write down log. There's the log is equal to 4. And the only thing you haven't written down is the 16. Good. So there we show you. The exponent is actually your log. It's exactly the same thing, just another name. And the thing underneath the exponent is your base. There is, though, another way, because I know many times people struggle to change from exponential format to log format. So there is another way to do it. I'm going to show you here, but you need to first know some log rules. If I have the same little base there, I can just make one log. I can make the log with the b at the bottom and the a at the top. Or if I have only one log, 2 there and 16 there, I can split it and I can write log 16 over log 12. I do not even have to write the 10 there, because remember, if we don't write anything at the foot of a log, it's automatically 10. You agree? So let's just do the example that was on the previous page in this manner. So if you do forget what is now the base and what is the exponent and what must I do, you can do this. You can put the log word in front of each side. Remember, in an exponent, you can do whatever you like as long as you do it both sides. So all I did, I added the log word on both sides, which I may do. Then you must remember your log rules. I can now bring that little 2 in the front. At the top, I can bring it to the front. Log 4, log 16. Have you got that? And the minute I've got that, there's a log word and there's a log word. I can now actually divide them by one another. I can just leave the 2 on the right-hand side, and I can write here log 16 over log 4, because I'm just dividing. And why am I doing all of this? I can now write one single log with a little 4 here and the 16 there, and there is that thing there written in log format. It takes a bit longer, but if you rather would want to do it this and write the log word in front of each one, you must just remember, I can take that exponent to the front there, which is what I did here, and then to get the 2 all alone, I divide by log 4, and because I've got 2 logs here, I can actually just write one log. That is what my log laws tell me, and I can put the little 4 as a footnote and the 16. Let's just quickly go there and do the shortcut. The shortcut is, I'm going to write down the log. The log actually is 2. Can you see the log is the exponent? It's 2. What is the base of that exponent? It was 4. So what is the base of the log? 4. What figure did I not write down? The 16. So actually, you can get to this answer at the bottom straight away with just knowing which is the base and which is the exponent. Then you do not have to do all these steps. But as I say, whichever you prefer, both of them give you the same answer in the end. Let's look at an example. Determine the smallest number of terms where the sum of the following geometric series. Now they tell me it's a geometric series. Now actually, if they say the word series, they're supposed to put pluses in between. But we're going to do that as we do the problem. Is bigger than 70. So let's just get space here. They told me it's a geometric sequence. So all I need to do is to find the A and the R. R for geometric. So I can immediately write down A is equal to 1. To find the R, I do right-hand side divided by left-hand side. And that just gives me 1, 1. If you're not sure, you can do the second one. You can do 1.21 divided by 1.1. You'll see it gives you exactly the same answer, 1.1. So there is my A, and there is my R, 1.1. The minute I've got those 2 loopies of mine, I know everything is now fine. I can just write down a formula. So if we go back to the previous question, they just said the smallest number of terms where the sum of the following. So I know I'm going to use the S formula, and it must be bigger than 70. So all I'm going to do now, I'm going to do the sum formula. Let's get the formula first. Because R is now bigger than 1, I'm going to do this. I'm going to write R first. R minus 1. You do not have to. You can still keep it 1 minus R to the end, 1 minus R at the bottom. But because I see that R there is bigger than 1, it's not going to give me negative numbers. So now I'm going to start filling in. Oh, but before I start filling in, they told me this must be bigger than 70. So if I now fill in, I'm going to fill it in just now, it must be bigger than 70, because that's what they told me. The sum of all of this must be bigger than 70. So I'm going to fill in the A, which is just 1. R is 1.1 to the power of n minus 1. You can also use square brackets there if you want to. If it confuses you, you can use a square bracket there with a little bracket inside, and the R is 1.1 minus 1. So if I simplify this a bit, I get 1, 1 to the power of n minus 1. 1, 1 divided by minus 1 is just 0,1 is greater than 70. I want that little n all on its own. So I'm going to multiply by 0.1. So I'm going to have 1.1 to the power of n minus 1 is greater than 7. Because if I multiply 70 by 0,1, I'm just moving my comma 1 space, and it gives me only 7. Still, the n is not all alone. So I'm going to take the minus 1 over. It's going to give me plus 1, which is 8. Now, you can think for yourself. There is no way you can change the 8 to become a 1.1. So in this case, you cannot get the bases the same. And then there's only the one option. Change it into log format. Now again, you can change it into log format by writing the log word in the front, or you can just do it straight away. For this one, because there's an inequality, a greater than or a smaller than, I suggest that you rather put the log word in the front. So now I'm going to just do it here. Log 1.1 to the power of n, and here log 8. Now I can bring that little exponent to the front, so it's going to give me to the front there, it's going to give me n log 1.1. Oh, but wait a minute, I forgot my inequality sign. That is actually greater than. Remember, it's not equal to, it's greater than, so it's greater than the log 8. Because I want the n all alone on its own, I'm going to divide that log word to the other side. So it's going to give me log 8 over log 1.1. So can you see what we're doing? We are just getting the n all alone. Now, the only reason I prefer for this problem, because there's an inequality sign, if you just change it straight away, the shortcut method, you may have the inequality sign incorrect. So maybe to be safe, if you want to change it to the log format, rather just put the log word in the front of both sides. You still keep your greater than sign, and you get the n all alone. Now, you can either just click your calculator now like that. It will give you the answer. Or you can do this. You can write one log word. You can put the 1,1 as the footnote, as the base, and you can put the 8 there. Whichever one you click, you can now go and test it. Whichever one you click, either this term or that one, it will give you n is greater than 21,8. Now remember what the n stands for? It's the number of terms. It can't be a fraction, but in any case, it must be greater than 21.8. So what is the first number greater than that? N is equal to 22. And that's what they asked, and that is your answer. Good. So as I said again, very easy. These problems are really, really easy. This is where you're going to gain lots of marks in the exam. Sequences are very easy. You just need to write down the correct formula. There's the answer written out properly. You can pause here and check thoroughly after you've done yours. And then you'll see here we used the other method as well. So you can check now both methods where you do it in a shortcut manner or a longer. And you can compare the two and see which one is easier for you. And then as always, we put in an extra exercise there so that you can practice some extra ones. Very easy. Write down your formula, find A and R, and you're well away. I'll see you next time.